Hey there, happy Monday everybody! If you saw the birthday ice cream poll back in February, one of the options on there was Black Forest cake. And Black Forest cake was one of my favorites as a child because I really liked the cherries. So I want to try to make that into an ice cream. So start with our cup of whole milk, cup of heavy cream. Now when you think about Black Forest cake, sorry I just spilled sugar all over the countertop, but when you think about Black Forest cake, there are three major components: the chocolate cake, the cherries, and then the whipped topping. So the approach that I am going to take here is to make the ice cream analogous to the whipped topping, and then I'll mix in pieces of cake and we'll make a cherry swirl that we can put in. So this will just be my standard vanilla custard, 2/3 of a cup of sugar that I failed to mention, that squeeze of vanilla bean paste, pinch of salt, and bring that up to a simmer. Alright, that is steaming, so we've got 4 egg yolks that we will go ahead and get tempered. I was sick a few weeks ago, and during that time, my eggs were very ill-tempered. And everybody back in. Okay, that looks pretty good. Get that off the heat, and we'll go ahead and get it strained. Add more cream to bring us up to 3 cups total. We'll go ahead and give this a stir. This is really just to mix it. I don't need to taste it. I know what this tastes like. So now for the cherries, I probably would use a can of cherries here. You can use fresh, you can use frozen. I'm using some that I froze from last season. Like I said, I would normally use a can. I thought I had one because I had made a Kirschkuchen last year, which is a German cherry cake. And if I'm mispronouncing that, it's because I've only read it. So I'm gonna wing this. We'll see how this goes. So that is, I don't know, a half a pound of cherries, 1/3 of a cup of water. I have some of this tart cherry concentrate. I just want to add maybe a teaspoon, just to bring in some of those tart flavors. And then also for the sour, I have some sour cherry fruit spread, and I'm hoping that the pectin helps to bind everything together. And I may still even hit this with some cornstarch at the end if things aren't looking quite thick enough. But I'm going to put this over medium heat and let those cherries start to break down. Let some of the sugars in that syrup start to cook up into to drive off some of the water so that it thickens. And I do think for a little insurance, we'll go ahead and use some cornstarch. This is about a teaspoon of cornstarch and a tablespoon and a half of water that I've mixed together into a slurry. And you mix it together like that just so you don't have any clumps. Okay, we are at a boil, so we need to continue to cook this, stirring continuously for about a minute, and that'll really let the cornstarch begin to bloom and help to thicken everything once it's all cooked together. Okay, so the juice is a little syrupy. I'd like it to be a touch thicker, but I really don't want to add more cornstarch now at this point. So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and get this off the heat and into the fridge. It should continue to thicken in the fridge, and if it's not thick enough, when we churn the ice cream, we can add some agar powder, which similar to cornstarch will help to thicken this mixture, but it works at much lower temperatures, so we won't have to bring this back up to a boil. I just like cornstarch better. It seems to give a smoother consistency, and it works really well with fruits. So we will go ahead and kill the heat and get this into a container, and we'll see you at the churn. Okay, let's get the vanilla custard portion of the Black Forest cake ice cream churning. Okay, so this is pretty near to soft serve, so I've got some of those cupcakes that I have broken up. I say those cupcakes, even though I know you never saw that. So this is the chocolate cake mix from the green velvet cake episode. And I went ahead and just baked them up into cupcakes. And then I'm going to start with about a third of our cherry jam. The rest I'm going to fold in by hand, but I just want some of it to be really well mixed. And it looks like I may have filled this a little too full because everything's sort of creeping up over the edges. All right, and I'm just going to start with maybe another third of the cherry. We're just going to use our spatula to fold it in. I don't want it to be completely mixed. There we go, kind of like that. Alrighty, let's get this scooped into a container. I can tell that the cherries really thinned everything down quite a bit. I wish maybe I had churned just a little bit longer before adding those cake pieces so that everything didn't climb up and out. But that's okay, we'll see how it turns out. BF for Black Forest, which also happens to be BF for Butterfinger, but I think you can tell the difference. Anyway, into the fridge, or freezer. Okay, let's give this Black Forest ice cream a try. So right away I can see the little bits of cherry and a few little pieces of chocolate cake. It's a little more firm than I was expecting, and it does not appear to be the prettiest scoop. Now because I adore cherries, I am going to put more of this cherry jam sauce, whatever we want to call it, on top. That's going to be nice. Okay, so that jam looks really nice on top. Like I said, the ice cream seemed a little firm. I'm not entirely sure why. So if you can see, there's pieces of cake in there. We definitely have cherry. Go ahead and give this a try. That was a huge chunk of cake. I don't think I broke that one up really well. Let's try this again. Let's try this again with no huge chunks of cake. Okay, that is a dopamine hit immediately. So that ice cream is sweet and creamy, and then the cherries are nice and bright and tart, and then you have the chocolate cake with a little bit of earthiness to kind of bring it all together. Wow, I definitely remember why Black Forest cake was my favorite cake. This is one that I'm going to eat all of, and I'm definitely going to make that cherry sauce again. And I'm not going to forget this time that I do have a layered version that I wanted to try. Let's see if we can get a good cross section. That cake is putting up some resistance at the bottom. So unlike the Mississippi mud where it absorbed a lot of the ice cream and got stayed nice and soft, I don't know that this one is going to. I think I may have to bring out or pull out a plate or something. Okay, a clean bowl. Let's see what's going on here. So it looks like maybe that cake, yeah, the cake is definitely hard. It didn't absorb the liquid quite like the Mississippi mud did, which is unfortunate because that was really good with all the layers. Having those distinct layers of flavor was really nice. I don't know that I can even break into this. All right, we're using fingers. No, that cake is hard. That's unfortunate. I don't think this layered version is going to work quite as well, but I'll go ahead and give it a taste anyway. It works, but it's not the same. The cake is almost just, I don't know if this makes sense, but it's a little chalky. So like it froze up and I don't know how to describe it. It's not spongy like a cake. It didn't absorb the liquid like the Mississippi mud where it stayed soft and just a little bit gooey. That's unfortunate. I really liked that idea. I liked how it worked out last time. But anyway, the ice cream itself, the Black Forest ice cream, especially with the chocolate sauce, I'm making that again 100%. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time. Bye!